We're live in the newsroom at 10 p.m. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Let's head now to your top story. 3 earthquakes have hit central Italy in the past 2 weeks. I had a chance to speak with scientist Mr. Albert Supik, joining us live on the program here with me. Mr. Supik, thank you so much for joining me. You are a scientist at a local high school. Is this a normal occurrence for an earthquake? Because the week before there were 2 quakes within 2 hours of each other, and these the first one was a 5.5 and the next one was a 6.0. On Sunday, another quake hit around the same area, central Italy. That was a 6.6 earthquake. Is this normal for something like this to happen so close to each other?
I guess in certain locations, right? In certain plates, tectonic plates on Earth that are more or less active, or just that intersect at certain locations. Italy's on one of those, and I believe it's the Mediterranean plate and Arabian plate that slowly move and bump and grind against one another. So are you saying, is it normal? Yes, it would be along these fault lines. And is it normal for them to happen close together? Sure, because these plates are going to be bumping and sliding and grinding past one another. So as the shifts occur, more shifts, aftershocks, or just series of shocks could be much more likely, yes.
Why is it happening? Is there something more to it?
It's okay. And so, so as the faults, these are 2 big plates, big rocky, hard, brittle plates on Earth that kind of float along the mantle, along what we believe is a fluid inner core. And as these plates slide and bump, and sometimes what's called subduct, go under each other, obviously it's going to rattle, it's going to shake, it's going to create these earthquake waves, seismic waves that are called, which is basically vibrations of the collisions.
Right. And do you fear that this can happen again, and maybe be worse than a 6.6 or a 5.5?
The ones you mentioned have been pretty significant, and obviously the ones you speak of specifically in Italy has been a place where people have lived for hundreds and thousands of years. And so it's obviously more developed area that's much more susceptible, and but yes, it would would be a prediction for those to reoccur, continue to occur, because the country, the area lives along one of these fault lines. So unfortunately, yes, as with other places as well.
Alright, Albert Supik joining me live from Cambridge High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining me. Venezuela continues to have its problems, from lack of supplies to feed the public to a political crisis within the country, as well as drugs. Joining me now on the program is Majorie Araujo. She is a Spanish teacher and Venezuelan national at Cambridge High School. Joining me now on the program. Majorie, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this. Now, what happened? Can you give our viewers insight as to what happened to the country? Why is Venezuela at this point right now?
Okay, everything happened, I would say, about more than 13 years ago when the former president, Hugo Chavez, he was in the military. He overthrew the president. And at the very beginning, all his speeches were about how he was going to make Venezuela better. And he talked about all the corruption from all the previous presidents, and of course in democracy. And he was right about it. He was right that we had 40 years with corruption, 40 years where the rich people will get richer and then the poor people will get poorer. And as always, the middle class will always suffer. So when he took power, people thought that he was going to make everything better. Like people thought, well, maybe, okay, it was bad that he overthrew by force the latest president, and now actually he won the election and he's going to make everything better because he knew what was the flaw. What he did instead was following dictatorship regime, just like Cuba. His best friend happened to be Fidel Castro, and he was just following Castro's order. So Chavez was not really ruling Venezuela. Castro was. So that's why right now you don't see food in the market. You can't really buy diapers, and if you find a box of diapers, you need to bring the birth certificate to prove that you've had a baby, so you have a reason to buy diapers. And this is insane. You can't find food, you can't find medicine, you can't find anything.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make. But can President Nicolas Maduro be impeached?
Can he be impeached? No. Technically and by law, yes, he could be impeached. But again, we're talking about a country with no law whatsoever. And even though Congress passed impeachment, the Supreme Electoral Council Committee has to approve it. And again, the government was making sure that these nominees' checking account overseas are huge enough to support him in making sure it won't pass. And he won't get impeached, unfortunately. It's not about getting impeached, it's about getting the military to support the people. But the military is corrupt as well. They are the ones in charge of receiving the drug from Colombia and sending it to all over the world. So if the military is with the government, sadly, nothing is going to happen. Maduro is still going to be there, and the people from Venezuela are going to live as they can. We have like 1 million people leaving the country, and there's nothing we can do really.
All right, Marjorie Araujo joining me from Madrid. Thank you so much for your insight on this topic. All right, we're going to see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.